We're here today after a long hiatus of our Arizona Drag Racing Legends series with Victoria Griffey. Many people know Victoria from all over the drag racing scene in Arizona. She's raced, she's done a lot of help promotion, run races, big supporter of other people, other teams, kids into drag racing. Victoria's done it, so we want to recognize Victoria as our newest Arizona Drag Racing legend. Hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm great, and thank you.
How did you get involved? When did you know you were a car girl?
Oh boy, this is going back high school. Might have been before high school. My dad used to take his manzanita all the time, all of his kids. So he used to be in the stand, used to love the sound and the speed of that. So then in high school, of all things, I had a boyfriend named Brian Aycock. And he introduced me into some pretty fast street cars at the time. And I was hooked. I don't know what it was about the speed part of it, but I guess I was the type of girl I liked. I was a pom-pom girl, so I liked being involved and doing things and going really fast. So back then, it's really been.
So you grew up, did you grow up here in the Phoenix area?
Yep, born and raised. My whole family's here, everybody.
And so for the fun of it, what high school did you go to?
Cortez High School.
Wow, Troublemakers, the home of Alice Cooper.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
right.
and down the road from your shop.
Yeah. You transitioned. You know, Brian took you to some races, and you knew you liked it. And when did you first? What was your first car?
First car, and it's still the same car, is my 1970 Dodge Challenger, which my boys are racing now. So that was straight out of high school. I got that car, and nowhere the car is. That was it. It's the same car I'm driving until Brian got his Charger around here. So
the new Brian.
Yes,
and
the new
Brian. Brian Griffey. You and Brian were married when?
1988.
Oh, so you're newlyweds.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. So it's confusing with all the Brians.
It is.
That way you wouldn't make a mistake and use the wrong name when you're calling somebody. You know, I always
kind of used to it now.
Yeah, good. But you were a Mopar person from all along.
My dad was Mopar. I had vehicles growing up. They were all Dodge. Every one of them, trucks, everything. So I just followed along what Dad did.
And that first Brian guy was a Ford guy.
Yeah, he was. But but when I went to go pick out the first vehicle, he wanted a Mustang and I wanted the Challenger, and I won. So it's good. He's got his Mustang now. So it worked out. I never frayed away from being a Dodge person. I'll always be a Dodge girl.
When was your first time at a drag strip?
Oh my goodness.
And where was it?
The very first time. And it's kind of funny because I was thinking about this when we did the family thing. I think I actually went to Beeline one time. And then I did go to Tucson with Brian and Dean and Lucas, all those guys way back then. We went to Tucson to the Winter Nationals. I got pictures of all that. And then it started going to Phoenix Dragway when Donnelly's were running it before Mel Larson's. But everybody at that time was still calling it Mel Larson's. So it was really the first time going there.
It's had a lot of different names over the years.
Boy, has it.
So when was the first time you drove down a drag strip? And what was it like?
It was PRP, and oh my gosh, the story about that one. My Brian, we had my Challenger all ready to go, and we went to, Bob and Carolyn were running it. It was PRP. And I got my Challenger, and we were going to do the ladies' lightning rod. So it was my first time to ever race, other than being on the street. I was used to doing that, but when you're out there, 2 lanes, and everybody's looking at you, and there's people in the stands watching you and all that, so I was nervous. I had to do a burnout. Well, I didn't know how to do a burnout because I never did that. I just took off from the light before and stuff. So Brian's trying to instruct me how to do it. Well, I wound up doing, of all things, a backwards burnout. I don't know how in the world I got myself to do that, but I did. And then he was trying to stop me, and so I stopped. I was so nervous because it was my very first time. So then after that, okay, fine, figured it out, and then I was hooked. That was it. I was like, oh my gosh, my heart was pounding. I was so excited. I could not wait to get back around and do it again.
You figured out R wasn't for race.
Yes.
It meant something else, yeah.
Yes.
So you remember how quick you ran your first pass?
I believe it was, I'm going to look over Brian, 14s? Yeah, it was 14s.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
So before that, did you do any street racing?
Oh my gosh, yes, all the time. And he's the one that got me off the streets. That was my thing, going down Central every single weekend.
He rescued you. Saved the world.
All the time. Drag raced, street raced, take that back. Street raced all the time down Central all the time. And then we would have a big group and we would go up to Cave Creek, I believe it was. And then we do huge big races up there too. Did it forever. And then being in my Challenger and knowing that I had that speed and I was all excited and especially when guys were coming up and romping up next to me, I wouldn't even the freeway I would do it. I would drop it down because it was a 4-speed and I would drop it down to third gear low enough and I would race guys on the freeway too. It was bad. I was going to bring that up. I seem to remember that car had a clutch in it and it was you learn you know how to drive a clutch, unlike most people today. Loved.
And does it still have a clutch? Or is it automatic now?
No. One time at the races, I was banging gears pretty good all the time in that car, and so one time at the race, I was driving it through, and I was hitting the gears real hard. Went through the top end, and all of a sudden the shifter came off. The car, it literally did. So I was trying to wiggle myself over to the side and got the car off around the corner. And I just stopped the car off to the side and walked all the way back up towards the front with the shifter in my hand. I looked at Brian and just handed it to him. He says, automatic, that's it. And that was the end of it.
And a little bit more dependable for you.
Yes, it was. But I still miss shifting. It was fun. It was fun.
So where all have you raced? That you've actually drag strips. Have you gone out of town at all? I mean, out of state? Or
me personally, no. The only place I've ever been was at the Phoenix Raceway Park. That was it for me. For him, another whole story.
So you have a family.
Sure do.
And your family races?
Boy, do they. Yes, it's been amazing. My two sons they basically were raised at the racetrack, and so they're now racing. And now my two grandkids. Kaylin's is going to be her third season in big wheels, and then my grandson Thane, who is 3, this will be his first year. And we already got a junior dragster sitting at our house in our garage waiting. And it's the Downings. We bought the old Downings one.
Wow, that's awesome. So you get to be junior dragster parents.
Grandparents, yep.
Grandparents, excuse me, yes.
Yeah.
And how old are your excuse me. What your family, they're all Mopar?
Yes, but Christopher decided he wanted to buy a Ford, only because it was the only thing that was available in his price range. And I remember when he pulled up, and I just stood there and stared at Brian, and he stared at me, and we're like, okay, we should be happy right now, but we weren't happy. We were trying to stay calm. I looked at least it's not a Chevy. So we walked outside, and we're just being really calm, and it was beautiful. We think we're good. At least it's not a Chevy.
So you've been involved with racing more than just going down the drag strip and supporting your family. I know over the years you've worked for PRP, Phoenix Raceway Park. You've done some stuff at Wild Horse Bash / Firebird, or Firebird / Wild Horse Bash / Firebird.
Exactly.
You've helped others. You've been involved with the Big Wheel program and junior dragster stuff, and just in general helping promote races. How did that get started?
When we started going to PRP after it reopened, it closed down, reopened, different name, everything with Bob and Carolyn. So we were, back then it was, anytime the track was open, we were there. We didn't care what day it was. That's just, and people got to the point where they were saying, if the Griffeys aren't there, then how can the track be open? That's how much we were going. We were there all the time. So we were involved so much, I got really close with Carolyn Curley. And then one day I asked her, I go, hey, if you ever need help, let me know. And that's all it took. So I started working the gates, and from there I went every position. I've learned every position there was. Bob and Carolyn taught me everything. Bob teaching me the staging lanes was the most funniest thing in the world, but it went from being a helpful person on the weekends, and then it went to weekdays, and then moved my way up and staying with all the different people with that track. I just never let go.
So Bob Curley, I remember the first time I met him, and it was more like I went out with my friend Bob DeYoung and I rode out when he first took it over, and we're just out there. He's working away on the track, and we pulled up to on the spectator side, and we're just looking at him, and he goes, "What do you guys want? What are you doing here?" Yeah, okay. Mr. Warm and fuzzy, but once I got to know him, and he knew where we were and what we're doing, and he's he did a lot for the local drag racing scene, and
Boy, did he.
gave us a good place to race. He was pretty adamant that we were going to do it his way, and he wouldn't be afraid to throw hooligans out of the track. And
Oh, yeah.
it was actually always a nice, safe place to race with the tracks he ran, or the track he ran there. So you worked your way up through, doing just everything it took to be there. So eventually people basically considered you the track manager, whether you really had the title or not. If they had problems, they came to you, and you try to, make, like herding cats at times, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. After you've been there as many years as I have, yes, I've been through the names all there. So yeah, I was management. That's what I say. I was management on there. Me and Brian were talking about this on the way up here. I know so many people in my lifetime that have become such a big part of me. I'm really nothing without all these racing family friends that I have. So, and helpful. I'm the kind of girl that's, here, hold my beer, I got this. So I just always jumped in, I helped out, and I still love doing it. Up to this day I did. So always been there. Whenever they need me, I'm there.
So you were there to the end of PRP, whatever, all the different names. The track out there on the west side of town closed up, and I know you probably took that pretty hard, like a lot of racers did, because whether you were there every weekend like you were, or you raced there every once in a while, or you raced there for a long time and just then stopped racing, and had a lot of great memories. Which one's some of your best memories of that track?
Oh my gosh, that's hard to put just into one. In matter of fact, when we were doing our podcast with Nicole, this Slow Fast one, we were talking about, with the staff, we were talking about what is some of your favorite events, what your favorite times and all that. And everybody says, how can you do that? How can you just pick one? I said, I can't pick one, but I can tell you a whole bunch of different ones. And my biggest ones was just with the staff on events, period. Because every time there was an event, we had a big event, something always happened. It was something that always came away with me that happened at different events. Somebody winning their first Wally, the kids winning their first junior race, watching somebody doing their best ET. Sometimes someone had an accident. There was always something going on. So nothing really stuck out, because I have too many things in my mind that stuck out. But I loved every event. It was fun, from the team races, nostalgia races, the big wheel races. Even with Bob and Carolyn, we used to do the now called the Lucas Oil races. Back then it wasn't that. Those ones were huge. The bike races, when the bike week used to come, oh my gosh. I would run up to Joe Mack's gate, and there was, next to the gate was a tower. They used to be the Sand Drag Tower. And I would run up to the top, and you would hear this rumbling and glitter of gleam of chrome coming, and in front of it was all the DPS. They were bringing all the bike week guys. They was so organized the way we had it. And they would come in and they would go in perfect line up. That was huge. Never forget that one. That was a big one. So.
That's awesome. I never made it out for a bike week or bike event, but I know that we had a lot of great motorcycle races over the years that ran out there, and a lot of them have, have done well in bike racing, and that track was always good for the people. Learn how to race. A lot of people learned how to race there, cut their teeth on it. We make fun of, we talk about our no prep racing today, and so one of the things people say, oh, it's a no prep track, and some of those no prep tracks are probably better prep than that track was back in the day. If your car worked at that track before Curly had a chance to do a lot of modifications and improvements to it, but originally that was a hard track to get down, and if you could learn how to race there, you're probably pretty good about anywhere you went.
Yeah, our big thing was everybody complained about the top end. that was pretty rough too.
The dips or the cows?
Both, and the snakes and the rabbits. We got proof on a lot of that stuff. And also when Pinks came to our track for the first time too, that was a huge one too, on people learning how to drive the track. Because those cars, they had no clue about us. They were all coming from back east, coming to our side of the world. That was crazy fun.
You mentioned Nicole and her podcast that she does. Would you want to give her a shout out on, to let people know about where they can see that podcast?
Yeah, Slow as Heck on Facebook,
okay,
and then actually YouTube as well. that you can watch that. And they try to do it every Thursday. They hit and miss sometimes on if they're doing it or not. But we did one for Speed World, and we wound up being there like 2 hours. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun. So it's fun to catch that.
She seems like she's got a big passion for everything racing, and just soaking it all up, and she's fun to listen to. She just has her opinions, but she also listens very well to things that learns a lot. And
a lot.
I'm very impressed with the job that they do. So we lost that track out on the west side. How did you end up migrate to Firebird Wild Horse Pass?
It was a transaction where Speed World had closed down and Firebird had closed down, and then it became they were going to reopen as Wild Horse Pass. So I went to Chuck Sundstrom, and Rick Losh was helping at the time and stuff, and I said, hey, you still got the rest of your season. Should we promote for the Speedway racers to come finish off the ET races at your track so then they get a chance to go to ET finals? He goes, yeah, that's a good idea. So we put the word out for the racers because it closed early. So we had racers coming over to Firebird, make sure it was still the Firebird at the time. And they would finish off the rest of the season to make the points to get to the... So we went to the ET finals in Vegas as zombies. Dead, but no racetrack, but we're still not dead. And we looked like zombies and all that. So that was fun getting all together there. And then it closed. And it really didn't close. What it did was Tribal took over. And Charlie left. And Tribal took over and called it Wild Horse Pass. So I was sitting at home going, I can't let somebody come in and not know what was going on. And I didn't know how much Chuck was going to be involved. So I went to them and I talked to them, Bill Schneider, matter of fact. And I said, hey, if you need a team captain or a leader to help with the team, I'd be more than happy to do it. And he goes, heck yeah. So I got the word out and I said, hey, you guys, I'm going to put the team together, for next year.
We're getting the band back together.
Yeah, the band's getting back together. Oh my gosh, you talk about huge. It was huge. So here we had not only Speed World and Firebird, which came back to Wild Horse Pass. We even had Tucson racers were coming too. So it was huge. It was huge. So much fun. So much fun. So it was like home again. We were learning how to all get along as one because we weren't three different, well, Tucson was still a different track. Or did Tucson close for a little bit? So we were all one big team again. So that was...
Tucson went, I think, IHRA for a while.
Yeah.
And so they wouldn't have been involved with the team.
Yeah. And they were trading names, not names, but people, I should say, management.
Right.
Was what was going on over there.
Yeah, a lot more stable with Jim Hughes there now, for sure.
Oh my gosh, yes.
At Wild Horse Pass, a lot farther drive from your home. But you spent a lot of time out there. What's some of the good memories of that? What did you like? What you like about being there compared to the facility different? Was it?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, as much as this is going to sound really weird, I felt like I had more control over there, and I did because they really didn't know what to do with the team because nobody really knew anything about running the team. So I was able to really put it the way I wanted to. It was my baby, it was my program, and everybody left me alone. They just let me do the thing. It was working. They were getting all the racers and the crew and all the stuff coming in. And for some reason, I think everybody started feeling a little bit more, you know what, we never know when we're going to lose another track. So they were a little bit more tighter. People became closer friends. I really felt that, I really did. And then the way I had it set up, I set it up where we would have to come to the bottom of not the tower, but over next to it was the concessions of the tables, and we went over there. So everybody would meet, and they would talk to each other and shake hands and talk about their races, and so it got them tighter. I wanted that to happen. I wanted everybody to get tighter and closer together. Mm-hmm. So it was a different atmosphere to me. It really was, but it was a good atmosphere, and my heart was full because I was still seeing all my friends from Speed World days.
So you've met so many people over the years. I've known you for
ever
40 plus years at least, and about 40 years or so, and I've known you to be just a fantastic supporter of the underdog and people trying to learn. So you going back to the Speed World PRP days, you did a lot with the big wheel racers.
Oh yeah.
Well, what was that like with these kids when your first? Can you remember the first event you were involved with?
Well, actually, it started with Bob and Carolyn doing bicycle. We used to
Okay.
do bicycle races with the kids. And matter of fact, it's one of the pictures, and I'll have it shown. There was hundreds of kids, it felt like, that showed up on their bicycles. This is before big wheel days. And they got their first taste. They were like, I get to go down the track, I get to leave on the tree. So they were, I couldn't believe how fun that was. And then when the big wheel program, it was basically, being in management and watching it, it was really Michelle and Joanne. Joanne Grangate, we were just talking about. I just saw her at the reunion, at the thing we just had here. They were the ones that were the team captains of the program. And so to watch these little kids and go to the starting line and get high fives, and do their best. And my biggest concern was watching the parents to make sure, let them have fun. Don't get serious about this. It's supposed to be fun. Don't get upset with them. Or if they're going to get upset themselves, we got to learn good sportsmanship and learn how to do all that. That's tough. It really is with little kids.
My daughter's played a lot of club sports, and I try to help out from time to time. And a friend once told me the best team to coach would be a team of orphans. Parents have a way of really messing it up.
They do.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. There has been some parents where it took everything in me with somebody, hold me back because I'm going to walk that way. Hold me back right now.
So of those kids, you saw some progress.
Oh my
Some went
gosh.
on and did other things, but at least they did something. They had a passion for it. Are all still drag racing fans one way or another. But you saw some progress to junior dragsters probably.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All of
And
them.
then some of them moved on. Any stories of?
And you're right too, because that happened a lot where there was faithfully kids there from the big wheel to the junior and then disappeared. And it just, I don't know why. The first time it happened to me, I was blown away. I don't understand. They've been here for years doing this, and then they were gone. And I don't know if it was just the family decision that we were done, or if they knew they were getting out of the juniors and they didn't have the means to get a race car, or they weren't ready for that, to do that type of thing. So that was hard on me to watch that, to see them go away. But it's like you said, then all of a sudden one day I would see them at a national or something, and I'm like, wow, they still are into racing. They love doing this. They wanted to come back, and they would remember everything, and they would talk to me about their memories and how much fun they had. But then there's other kids where perfect, Justin Ronaldo, he's the perfect one I can tell you about right now. Watching him from a little guy and then grow up into a big car, get married, had kids. Now watching his kids go through all this. Oh my gosh. I just want to cry or think about those kids. I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of Justin and Tara. But a lot of parents, not just them. There's a lot of people.
As the kids transition through those years, I remember I had all the intentions of with a friend building a race car, and then all of a sudden I discovered girls, and that kind of took me out of Boy Scouts and other things I was involved with. But yeah, I think things do change. But but the idea of the guidance and the skill and the sport, what you did, a lot of kids took positives away from it, even if they're not involved with it today.
Right.
And they're great memories, and so you build a lot of great memories for people. Going forward to where do you see kids we always worry about youth in drag racing. What is your thoughts? Do you feel that we have a lot of young kids still wanting to be involved?
All the years that I've been involved, I've been hearing that from day one. What were we going to do when they move on? And these, we need more kids. We need more kids. So it's always in the back of my head. So whenever we start a new season, I right away look how many big wheel kids, how many junior dragster kids we have, because that's in my head that we need these kids. We need to keep this going, this tradition, and keep the bracket. And then I don't stop and think about, wait a minute, there's teenage kids that all of a sudden show up out of nowhere, or there's guys that, yeah, my dad used to do this, and I want to start getting involved, and they get into. So, do I see it being okay? Yes, I do, only because of that reason, because I have seen the different variations that have brought more people into drag racing. I really do. Our biggest thing is keeping the track open, support our tracks.
Yeah, that's the big part of it. We almost lost Wild Horse Pass / now Firebird, but one of the big pushes were we were doing some group I was with, we were trying to be positive about it and spread the right word, and you did a great job on social media, when people want to fire up and call people names, what we need to remember is that there's no entitlement that we're going to have a drag strip.
Yeah.
We're not owed one.
No.
Our job is to support it and make sure we use it, make sure it's there, and it will be there. I'm totally amazed by the number of youth I see, and I'm watching Dylan Winifsky, junior
Oh, my
dragster now.
gosh.
He's
My
right for
junior
Fuel
kid.
Altar. Now they're building a big show funny car.
I know. I can't believe him. He's amazed what he's been through. Trip Breakrights, look at him.
Yeah, Trip. Yeah.
It's nuts, these kids.
Yeah, so it's got to make you feel good. All these kids you've seen come through programs. What are you doing now? What keeps you busy?
Since I let go of working over at Wild Horse / Firebird, I turned and I looked, and there was my trailer, my husband, my 2 sons, and my grandkids. They all stand there staring at me. I go, oh, I guess I know what I'm doing. So went to the trailer, and I support them. That's what I do now. My job now is to be a supportive Nana. And
So you're the team manager, but a smaller team.
yes, exactly. That's a good way to put it. I need to put that down, Team Griffey on there.
You should. You should. Well,
Yeah.
so, you and your family are very well known. Like I said, I've known you for a long time, and this is long overdue for us to get you here to interview. Anything you want to talk about? Any stories or anything that comes to mind that
It stick out.
you and your husband were talking on the way over here this morning?
Yeah.
What's the story you chatted about?
Oh my gosh, we were just talking about a lot of things. For me, if I kind of roll back in the back of my head, it's like my first time being at the track with Bob and Carolyn. And then watching them go away, that was hard. And then Joe and Lena came in, did a lot with them. There's if I start thinking about too much stuff, it's gonna make me start crying here.
That just shows your passion.
I know.
Yeah.
I loved all the, I still do. I still love all the racers and all my staff, the staff that we work together with on that as well. And all the different track managers, even after Joe and Lena, the Colettis were amazing. A lot of people, I hope they remember them, Joe and Lena Coletti. That was
I
a lot.
remember Joe. I remember he was a
Do
heck
you?
of a racer, and
Yeah.
I think he had a Buick car,
Yeah.
Buick car dragster. And,
You talk about a guy with a lot of
yeah.
passion. Oh my gosh, that was him.
Well, he had to take over dragster. What was he thinking?
He was a car salesman, and all of a sudden he's owning a dragster.
Yeah. So easy. A caveman can do it, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Not quite that easy to run a drag strip. I think a lot of that's overlooked is that, the trauma that people, by their actions, what they cause on the, on basically drag strip workers and such, that it's totally out of whack. And we have over the years we've had a lot of great people at the drag strips. A lot of great staff members that kept things calm, and you definitely were one of them. And we definitely, and you're appreciated for that. You've got so many people to remember you. So many people love you. I, through my work career and other things, I was involved with drag racing a whole lot, and kind of wandered away. Not really wandered away. I was keeping track of everything, but I was busy working in my career and stuff. And remember the first time back to Phoenix Dragway, PRP or whatever it was, and I saw you, and you were like, "Where have you been?" You made me feel like I hadn't missed a thing at all, and I certainly appreciate that. You definitely are a legend. You've done so much for other people, altruistically as well. You've paid it forward, and if just a few of the people pay it forward from what you paid to them, this world is in great shape, and drag racing is in great shape for the future. Excuse me. Victoria, it's been good to have you here today. You are definitely an Arizona drag racing legend, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.